I do believe in paid campaign work, but when it comes to internship, don't hate on the free internship experience, because you should get paid, but you can make some good connections that'll get you paid later.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. I think the problem lies, we saw this in the last 4 years, in the last especially 2 with the Trump years, how Supreme Court judges, in some cases federal judges, is very politicized because each side is afraid that they're going to, a president is going to appoint too many judges at one time, that it will sway the court and make the court too conservative or too liberal or progressive, and that's a big fear. But the truth is, there's an old saying in DC too, that new issues and new power structures could net better results for our country. But I'm always a believer in things can get worse. I mean, I've seen it too many times in politics. The truth is, things can always get worse.
And in your expert prediction earlier, you mentioned climate change. And I was just kind of wondering, how do you and the Democratic Party of Missouri view that issue politically? Is that something you view as a winning issue with the voters? And also, if we were in a blue Missouri, what would climate policy look like?
Man, that's another. I'll give you the real answer. Well, I do the political answer first. I have to. The political answer is that we actually take climate change very seriously as a party. We don't expect a lot of our ideals in our legislative bills that we filed to be passed. We do think that there is some compromise and some collaboration that can be had with the majority party when it comes to conservation and rural area and changes, but especially around fishing and agriculture. But we're at a huge disadvantage from ag corporations and corporations in general who have a lot of oversized power in our state government. So the real answer is climate change doesn't seem to be a political winner for Democrats right now, especially folks over the age of 50, and then folks between the ages of 30 and 50 kind of put their economic needs ahead of the future of the world right now. And some would say they're putting their children ahead. They're trying to get their children, the difference between getting their children a Corvette than a Cavalier. They don't make Cavaliers anymore. You guys don't know what that is. So it doesn't. The truth is, a lot of people over the age of 30 just don't give a shit about climate change. They don't feel like it affects them directly. So it doesn't seem to be a political winner. Climate change started as a term called environmentalism. Environmentalism, along with departments of conservation are ways that you can work it into issues that affect folks across party lines. Your part of your question was, what are my thoughts on climate change? I'm a New Deal supporter. I told you, I'm more progressive than most progressives. I think it is. I don't think climate change is a defining moment of defining issue of our lifetime. I think economic change, like a second Bill of Rights, really is. Because until we change how we view capitalism as a country, we won't change how we view climate. Because us as capitalists is really stunning us as climate changers, because doing the things that it takes to reduce climate change is going to lose us a lot of money.
How did the Missouri legislature adjust to the challenges represented by the pandemic? Like, what were some of the notable stories or some of the notable conflicts back from March of last year?
Well, this is usually the time during the interview where I say Does anybody care if I curse? Anybody here that that minds if I curse, like has ears that can't hear curse? They didn't do shit, okay? All right, at the end of the day, when we had several legislators got COVID, Republican legislators got COVID during some of even the governor contracted COVID and his wife. There was no requirements for masks on the House floor. So when you're on the House floor, I finally remember what the name of that room was. You guys noticed a few minutes ago. You're sitting about this close to each other, and sometimes you're like right next to each other, like you and Colby. And there are people from literally all across the state in one room, and they're connecting with folks from all across the state in one building every day, all day, different meetings. And the fact that the governor and Republicans couldn't figure out that was going to spread a disease that had been spread across the country is crazy. So it's fucked up. Okay, they put people's lives at risk, and so they didn't do anything. And when it came time for we got plenty of funds from the federal government, millions of dollars to push out to local hospitals, to local schools, to businesses. They didn't do shit then. They held on to $600 million that was designed to help people for months. Months, guys, not weeks. Months. They held on to $600 million. It's a little personal to me too, because while other states were earmarking dollars to help businesses, especially restaurants and bars, our state was trying to find a way to keep that money, bank it, and reduce the amount of money they said they were going to give. So they made an announcement that they were going to, it was called the CARES Act. It was a CARES Act restaurant fund, and they said they were going to put $50 million into the fund. And by the time the governor announced $50 million in the fund, everybody's very excited about it in St. Louis, especially me, because another little fact, I own the coolest bar in St. Louis right now called Open Concept. And our business was forced to shut down for 6 months throughout this 18-month period because our city required to shut down and required to check you for masks and now for vaccine cards. But no, we're not required for vaccine cards, and folks are doing that. But what ended up happening is they ended up putting, here's a Republican's lie, they ended up putting such stringent regulations on the program that they originally said they'd give my personal bid about $44,000, we ended up getting about $14,000.
We want to thank you so much for coming out here. It's been an absolute pleasure. Last question we have for you. What do you have to say to the students of Mizzou?
Well, I like to say first support all of our football team.
Amen.
Make sure that we're getting back on top of the SEC because, man, those are some good years when we were going to the SEC championship. But support all of our athletes who are spending a lot of their time to make sure they're putting a good light for our school. But also, you're smarter than us, man. You are the smartest generation in the world right now, and we're depending on you to do better than millennials and folks older than us. So make sure while you're here, you're making connections that can take you further in the world, but also that you're learning things that we don't know and that you're bringing them to you post-graduation. We're to help you when you're done.
All right. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, man.